Okay, so continuing here is 6.1. I have some examples here for you. So if you wanted to, you could take a look at some different examples on angle measures and figure some things out here. So basically, we are going to find two positive and two negative coterminal angles. So remember, to find two positive coterminal angles, all you need to do is add 360. So to add 360 to that, 120 plus 360, 480. Then take the 480, add another 360 to it, 840. So there are your two positive um, coterminal angles. So negative 30 plus 360, and I'm getting 330. Take that, add another 360 to it, you end up with 690. So add 360 to this, 315 plus 360, you get 675. Drop that down there and add another 360 to it. So remember, adding 360 gives you a positive coterminal angle. Okay, it gives you a positive coterminal angle. So now find the negative coterminal angles. So to find the negative coterminal angles, you subtract 360. So 120 minus 360. Then take that negative 240 and minus 360 again. So there are your two negative coterminal angles. So take that negative 30, minus 360 to get negative 390. Drop that negative 390 down and minus 360. So you get negative 750. So those are the two negative coterminal angles. Then take the 315 and subtract 360 to get negative 45 degrees. Negative 45 minus 360 to get negative 405. To find the negative coterminal angles, all you're doing is subtracting 360. So find two positive and two negative coterminal angles. Now what happens when they're in radians? How do you find the coterminal angles? Okay, well, what did we say that you do? I said that you minus 360 or you add 360. Well, 360 degrees is the same as 2 pi radians. So the point I'm getting at is if those are exactly the same, then instead of adding and subtracting 360, you're going to add or subtract 2 pi. That's all. So 2 pi over 6 plus, 5 pi over 6 plus 2 pi, I'd rewrite 2 pi as 12 pi over 6. So when I do that just to find common denominators, you end up with 17 pi over 6. So then 17 pi over 6 plus 2 pi, well, I'm going to write that as 12 pi over 6, just so that they have the same base. So you end up getting 29 pi over 6. So all I did was common denominators. So negative pi over 4, the common denominator would be 4, so I switch that to 8 pi over 4. So I get 7 pi over 4 radians there. So then I take the 7 pi over 4 plus another 2 pi. So it'd be 7 pi over 4 plus that 8 pi over 4. So I get 15 pi over 4. And then 2 pi over 3, the common denominator there is 3. So that's 6 pi over 3. So that gives me 8 pi over 3. So I do 8 pi over 3 plus 2 pi, and that's like saying 6 pi over 3, so I end up with 14 pi over 3. So all I was doing to find the coterminal angles was adding 2 pi to each of them, but just finding a common denominator first. So if you add 2 pi to find the positive coterminals, then you are going to subtract 2 pi, right? You're going to subtract 2 pi. So keep that in mind. So subtract a 2 pi here. So remember, since this is 6, the common denominator is 6, so it's 12 pi over 6. So 5 pi over 6 minus 12 pi over 6 is negative 7 pi over 6. So I take that negative 7 pi over 6, and sorry, it's supposed to be minus a 2 pi. So it's minus 12 pi over 6, so that's negative 19 pi over 6. So negative pi over 4 minus 2 pi, well, that's like, let's just make it over 4. So that's negative pi over 4 minus 8 pi over 4, so it's negative 9 pi over 4. So take the negative 9 pi over 4, and I minus 2 pi. Negative 9 pi over 4 minus 8 pi over 4. Negative 17 pi over 4. So 2 pi over 3 minus the 2 pi, the common denominator is 3, so that's 6 pi over 3. So it's 2 pi over 3 minus 6 pi over 3, which is negative 4 pi over 3. So next up is take that negative 4 pi over 3 and minus 2 pi. So when I do that, I end up with the common denominator 3, so that's 6 pi over 3. So negative 4 over 3 minus 6 over 3, negative 10 over 3. So find the angle complementary to this. Remember, complementary means adds up to 90 degrees. So find 2, that means it adds up to 90 degrees, but since we have degrees, minutes, and seconds, we need to change 90 degrees into degrees, minutes, and seconds. So 90 degrees is 89. Remember, there's 60 minutes in an hour, so that's why I pull the 60 out. And then I pull that 60, and I make that a 59, and I pull out 60 seconds, because there's 60 seconds in a minute. So I can take this minus the 5 degrees, 17 minutes, and 34 seconds. So 60 minus 34 is 26, 59 minus 17 is 42, 89 minus 5 is 84. So there is your answer. That is the complementary angle. So over here, since we have a decimal for this one, remember it's what when you take two angles, add them together, you get 90 degrees. So it's 90.0 minus 82.3, which is 7.7 degrees. Let's find two angles supplementary now. Supplementary means adds up to 180. So let's change the first one, 180 into degrees, minutes, and seconds. So 180, I take one away, make it 60 for a full minutes. There's 60 minutes in an hour. That's now 179. Then there is take one whole minute out and make that 60 seconds. So 60 seconds after I took the minute out of there is now 59 minutes and 179 degrees. So I subtract those two. 60 minus 37 is 23. 59 minus 51 is 8. 179 minus 48 is 131. So we get 131 degrees, 8 minutes, and 23 seconds. And since this is already in degrees, I just make it 180.0 minus 15.9, so you get 164.1. This is what you end up with. And we'll find the exact radian measures here when we come back. We'll try to finish up some examples here on 6.1.